Hey, welcome again to the Tune In. I'm Ben Tyree. You're watching. Thanks for being here. We got another great show. It's January 8th in crazy United States. Currently, you're watching this on, let's see, February 18th, because we're have about a 6-week delay here. But it's been going really well, aside from all the craziness in the world right now. This show has been saving my sanity. So thank you for watching, and I want to thank all the people that have come on this show so far. This is episode 9. I don't know if I said that already, but episode 9 of the Tune-In. As always, please subscribe. Hit the red button, the YouTube subscribe button. Why, you ask? You're going to go and watch the video anyway? Yeah, but takes me to my next topic, sponsorship. If you are a company, organization that would like to sponsor the Tune-In, please hit me up. Going back to the subscribe thing. Yeah, the bigger the numbers, I can get guests that I don't know. I can get sponsorships. All kinds of things can happen. You never know. But all the support helps. If you want to donate to help support the show, it's Ben Tyree is my handle at Venmo and Cash App. Any bit helps. A lot of artists are unemployed currently, myself included, since March. However, I'm very optimistic and hopeful because I get to do things like this, because I get to talk to amazing people, and because you watch and listen, and I really appreciate it. So my guest today on episode 9, David Sosa. He's an amazing person, an amazing singer. I met him through our mutual friend, Ramona Montañez, and we've worked with her. She's going to be on this show. She doesn't know it yet, but I see ya. I know you're going to be on the show. I'm going to ask you. Hopefully she'll say yes. Yeah, so he's amazing. This is good. We just finished the talk. It was a lot of fun. We talked about all kinds of things, and I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. Yeah, so I'm going to read. I've got the copy again. The new tradition is I'm printing out the copy. I'm reading the copy. David Sosa's bio. David Sosa, a New York-based singer-songwriter, has been singing ever since he was 1 year old. At a young age, David was introduced to musical styling such as opera, jazz standards, and Broadway that allowed for him to build an eclectic taste and multi-genre performances. While sonically contemporary, David's musical influences stemmed from 90s R&B, which grew outward into the soul music of the 60s and 80s, powerhouses such as Vandross and Donny Hathaway, to prominent women like Patti Labelle, Mariah, Carey, and Rachelle Ferrell, significantly added to Sosa's landscape. David's album Journey to Love, which is awesome by the way, was released September 30th, 2020, with a debut on iTunes Top 100 R&B albums at number 3. Journey to Love was preceded by 2 pre-release singles entitled Laugh and Let Me Know, featuring rapper Lyteral. So, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome a dear friend, David Sosa. Dave,
Yes.
my friend, what's up?
Nothing. Living the life during these COVID times.
Yes, sir. How are
Making it
you
work.
doing? It's been a
Doing all
while.
right. I'm doing all right. I am just making it work, literally surviving, working my 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get the music together and still trying to find ways to create art because not too many places are doing recordings and I don't have
Yeah.
any recording home, equipment. So I'm like, all right. So I've been trying to talk to some people about getting into like renting some of their home studio space and trying to just do vocals and stuff and then just get that to somebody to do all that. But other than that, just been writing a lot. And that's it. I hope to travel a little bit too, because even though it's a little scary out there, you don't get to travel too often and you don't get to have tickets this cheap.
I know, right? Where would you go?
I've already went to Mexico.
Nice.
I went to Mexico and it was super, super
You told me it
COVID,
was pretty safe. You
very
you
safe.
said you
I
had a
wish we were
safe
like that over
journey.
here. super safe journey. Everyone's super on top of it over there. Like nothing I've seen over here matches the washing and security and antibacterial like process they have over there.
Really?
It's
Wow.
insane. Yeah. So that was fine. And then I went to California for like a few days to visit my sister and my niece and nephew because I don't get to really see them too often. So I
Where
got to do that.
where in California?
They're in Orinda, which is like maybe 28 minutes away from, well, it depends. Maybe like 30 minutes or so from San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. North,
So,
south, you know the county?
Orinda. That's all I know.
I don't
Orinda.
know Orinda, but I know the Bay. You know, I've been there quite a bit.
Yeah. I know it's like Orinda, Antioch. Those are all like in those like little areas that are like right outside San Francisco. You just kind of like
Right.
zoom right on over there.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much been that.
Man, you're courageous to get. You won't see me on a plane. I haven't been on a
I
plane since November of 2019.
really
Yeah.
no, I had to take advantage of it. It was too good. And not only that, like it's here. I had already planned the vacation in Mexico from before we
That
knew
was in
this
the
was gonna
summer,
happen.
right? Was that in the summer? Yeah.
So it was just like before we knew it was gonna get real crazy, it was just like I just packed, a lot of spray sanitizer with me before I sat down on the in the seat or anything. I was spritzing everything, wiping it down. Like I don't,
Yeah.
I did. I just had my own ways. I had alcohol pads with me, and before I ate, I took the utensils and like wiped utensils down. Like I did everything I could do to be as safe as possible, but still live. Because I'm like, I gotta live. I
Yeah.
can't work and be stuck in my home. Like I'm going crazy.
I think some of the protocols and the routines we develop, we adapt to them, and they just become like any other routine. And you're just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I put a mat, and it's no longer. I mean, it sucks for sure, but it's no longer like you have to remind yourself. Like I feel pretty relaxed most of the time. I'd say in regards to that. Like you know what to do by now. You know how to
Yeah.
be. You know, I don't
I
know.
get that. I get that. No, I totally get that. But I mean, now like the mask is almost secondhand. Almost. There's still those moments where like I'll get up and just go walk, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go back and get my mask. Like those moments. And luckily, like on the MTA and stuff like that, one of those things happen. I usually put extra mask in like those little small pockets of my
Mm-hmm.
like coat or
Mm-hmm.
like little pockets of my bag, just so I know I have those disposable ones, and I'll primarily wear cloth ones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, at least like at the MTA, they'll usually have a pack behind the glass and like
Oh
give them to
really?
you as needed. Yeah, they
Oh
usually as
yeah.
needed, so that because their thing is to really make sure everyone has a chance to wear it. You know what I mean? To
Hmm.
be on top of that. So yeah,
Yeah, man.
one of those things. One of
I
those
know
things.
you
What have
got
you been
to
up to?
this and trying to stay sane and safe and you know
All that,
what I
all that
do. I
stuff.
don't know what's gonna happen. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm like, oh okay, let's. This is the
You
time.
get to actually do it. Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's been great. This is no episode 9. I've been like perfecting the tech of it, and you're gonna air on you. You were this close to airing on Valentine's Day, but somebody beat you to that slot.
You beat me to the slot.
You'll be on the 18th, Feb 18. That's still
Nice,
kind of
nice.
technically Aquarius
It is. It's
land.
Aquarius
It's like the
season. Yeah,
last day. Yeah, yeah,
absolutely,
yeah. I
absolutely.
guess are we? No, we're not in Aquarius. This is Capricorn
No, it's still
time.
Capricorn. Yep,
See, I don't know,
still Cap.
but I almost want to say you have a new record out, and it's not new, but it feels new, but it's relatively new. In these times,
In
it's
these times.
newish. Yeah, it came out in
Yeah.
the fall, right? Journey to
Yeah, I
Love.
put it. It was like the last day of September. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was like it's September 30th. It came out, and yeah, just it was such I mean, I think just being an independent artist and nothing is really quite clear cut for you. Like there was no Google to be like, well, how do I do this? And the sites you go to that you use as distributors and stuff like that, like they're not super as user friendly as they could be either. So like there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
mistakes made, a lot of things you have to redo.
Mm-hmm.
It almost didn't come out because I had originally wanted it to release in July,
Mm.
and then the music wasn't finished being mixed by then, which irritated my liver. Then August
Mm.
came, and I was like, because I had by May, I think it was like by March or May, but I think not even by April or May, I had told the producer, I was like, hey, I would like to have this released by July.
Mm-hmm.
What's the possibility of that happening? And I was told, no problem. That did not happen. So I didn't get my last, I think, last song finally like mailed to me and done till maybe the beginning of September, which only left me a few weeks. And with COVID seizing everything up, I was like, everything was delayed. So I put it in with good faith. I had sent it over to get mastered by a Joel,
Did I
or
meet?
Joel,
Did I meet him?
who
Do I know that? Do I
Luke,
know him? Huh?
Luke, the one that produced Ramona's When I Close My Eyes
Yeah,
for her.
I'm just like I do I know him? I don't know if
I
I
don't know
know
if you met him.
him. Yeah.
But yeah, so it got to me when it got to me. I put it all out finally, and then yeah, I mean it came out, and I got some good love from it. It debuted, I think, at number 3 on iTunes
Yeah.
Top 100 R&B
You had some
albums.
chart success. I was like,
It was
damn.
weird. It was weird. I was like, what the hell? But I
You
guess
like beat
people.
out you beat a couple people out too. Like some
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I was there like for a while. I was like right below, I think, like Mariah Carey and John Legend, and then I was like up there with like Otis Redding, Aretha Franklin, um, and I don't remember who the top slot was. And I enjoyed it there for a few days. I was just like, holy shit! Like I was in the top 20 for like a week. I was just happy about it. In top 10 for like a week, I should say. And then,
That's
it just was what it
amazing.
was. You know how it is. It happens. The artist came out with new stuff and everything just plummets down back to where it goes. But it was just surreal, I think, for me to just see my name up there with those people and some of the people that to me had influenced a lot of my music journey,
Yeah.
right? So it was just
That's
crazy. I was just
amazing.
like, what the hell?
That's a good
But
feeling.
it is. It is. My friend sent me an email and it was like, I think Aretha Franklin had just come out with or not she, but I think her estate or her label had released, I think like a best of or something. I don't know if it was a playlist on Spotify or something. They released music for a time, and they were like, if you like her, if you like this artist, you'll like. And it was like me underneath it in the email, and I was like, get the hell out of here! Like it was like
Nice.
craziness. So I was just really excited to be lumped in that caliber of people that I've always looked up to.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I think you deserve it. I think your stuff is great,
Thank you, thank
you
you,
know. That's why I
thank you for
like
playing on it.
of course, Man, we got to do more of this stuff.
Absolutely.
I put we Stephanie and I were listening to your album like after it came out and she was like, "Holy shit." She's like, "I got to put this on the big speakers."
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
cuz it's like impeccable. It's like boom.
Love it.
Like I
Thank
have
you.
no criticism.
I for me, I do. We always going to be our toughest critic. I think for me, what the album was more, I think more a lyrical thing for me than it was a vocal thing. I
Mhm.
think I kind of crooned and chilled out vocally than I usually do. I think. I mean, compared to how I usually sing, maybe live or when I'm in the moment of that, I think I don't know. I don't think that related as much to like most of my vocals. I feel are on the smoother end on this album. So there, I kept imperfections in there on songs that I could hear like the tears in my voice because there was moments when I was re-recording it, I was like kind of reliving the nonsense that was going on when I wrote the song, and I got emotional a few times, and I was like, you know what, that vocal's raw. It has a little imperfection in it, but keep it because it's real, it's authentic. I'm not gonna sit here and try
Yeah.
to pretty up something that I'm talking about ruin my life,
Yeah.
so
Right. Right.
stuff like that. So I pay attention to a lot of it. I listen to it, I think, from a different, more personal point of view. But overall, I think it's the first time I've released anything or shown it to people in the same room with someone, and I'm not like super duper shy, and I'm not like, oh geez, and like looking away, and like I can't hear the sound of my voice. I actually enjoyed everything I released, and I've been very like pretty proud of it. So it's interesting for me to be on that end of it because I'm usually like, oh no 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 no,
I'm still like that about me, everything. I'm still like,
really?
"Oh yeah." I'm like, but I like it. I don't think, I'm happy with the work I've done, but
Good.
I don't like listening to it around people.
And I got used to it because people just throw it on and they just like boop, and I'm like,
That's a good sign.
oh, all right, you like that song, great, but it's just it boggles my mind, honestly. And I think more than that, what's been like kind of like surreal about it too has been people's responses to like the music is helping them in something in their
Mm.
life. And I think that to me was like a big game changer. I had joined a conference, a virtual conference, and it was like a self love conference. And a lot of the women there were, they were just going through the self empowerment and that whole movement, and really trying to talk about positive affirmations in life and all that. And so they had took Laugh as an example, and I had sang it, live, and they just like dissected everything, and like they had heard it already before then because it had came out. When they were just one of the women came on there, and she was like, I lost my mother in August, and she was like, and that song actually helps me not get down. Like I actually remember to find joy in things, to keep going on, and like not get, and that just like you could have like knocked me over with a feather. I was just like,
I bet that felt better than the charting, huh?
of course. I mean, yeah. And I had people tell me, send me messages and tell me that, they were going through a breakup now. They're in that transition period of like they don't know where their relationship's at, and kind of listening to some of the words in Goodbye, and listening to your inner self and understanding what it is to love yourself more, to consider yourself holy, instead of just being like, oh, I'm gonna be the bad guy and I'm gonna hurt someone if I leave. And it's like, no, sometimes, if it's not working and it's not fixable, it's okay to leave. Like, so it's been interesting to have people get ministered to through the music, um,
Mm.
which I think is important part of what music does.
Yeah, maybe the most important part, right?
Seriously.
Mm.
Thinking,
I'm always thinking. I'm always thinking around you, right?
thinking.
I'm thinking how we met. We met through Mona. Yeah,
We met through Rona.
I was thinking back about that today earlier. I remember the first time you guys came over and we rehearsed, and it was like in the
Oh,
summer, and it was super hot, and we had to rehearse in my bedroom because that's the only place with an air
the
conditioner.
AC,
It was
yes.
so hot, right? But it was, yeah. I just remember being like, okay, this is good.
It was good. It was a lot of laughter.
Oh
There's
my god.
musicality here,
Yeah,
you
that's why
know.
that song "Laugh" is like when I think of you, I think of that song because it's like your waters run very deep, yet and you have this tremendous sense of humor, right? That
Love
at
it.
times is on the surface, right? But
Right.
sometimes when it's like full on, I'm like something else is going on. You know
Some
what I
else
mean?
there.
There's something
Some
else
else
there.
there.
There,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I miss those times. I miss us all playing together and laughing our asses off, like to tears. Oh my god.
Seriously. Seriously. Enjoying good coffee, some good vegetarian stuff with some ramps,
Oh
all
yeah,
that
we
good
used to,
stuff.
dude. Did I cook ramps for you
You
guys?
cooked ramps for me one time. It was like ramps and something else. It was like a stir fry almost, I think. And then I think I bought like Puerto Rican influenced food because I was vegan at the
Yes,
time.
I
And then I
remember
bought
this,
like, yeah, I made something. I don't even remember what
and
it
it
was. It might have
was
been like beans and rice
yes,
and something like that, and like fake meat or something, or like I don't know. It was like eggplant, I think. I don't know, whatever it was.
it was.
But
I
yeah, we
remember
had,
I think was Mona there. Or it was just us.
yeah, it was Mona, you, and me
I
at the table.
remember folks being a little blown away by that, and you were like, "Ah, it's just something I threw together. Whatever."
Yeah. Well, I think it became a thing. They were like, you should, I think, I don't know if it was somebody there. They're like, you should do something like, you should make this like the vegan Rican or something like that. And then now there's actually a vegan Rican.
Oh
There's
my
actually
god.
somebody out there making all this like Puerto Rican cuisine that's all vegan. And it's pretty awesome. They're on
In New
IG.
York?
Yeah, I believe so.
Mm.
And they're like challenging themselves to find alternatives to like almost every every Puerto Rican meal and just replacing the pork with like, vegetables and or, something that's not so processed, even if it's vegan, like,
Yeah.
just, and it's really, really awesome. Like watching them make stuff and I'm like, looks amazing. It looks like it's going
Mm.
to taste fantastic too. So
So are you no longer doing the veg thing?
no, I lost out on that for a minute. I have a thing. I have like a crazy love affair with wings.
Mm.
Like I will just f up some wings like really bad, and it's like even the moments like when I was like just vegetarian out and just being like pescatarian at times, it was just like fish. There were just moments where I'm like, I want some wings. Like I just need like, and I would get like, I would go to like this little
Yeah.
like Asian buffet spot, and I would get like the broccoli rabe with garlic, and like I would get all these vegetables and like all this like hearty, really awesome food, and get like 3 wings and just put them on top of that. Close my little container and like take it. I'm like I had to have wings. It's like I cannot not have wings.
I have a confession. So I've been vegetarian since I was 14,
Hmm.
but there have been a few cheats, but not for a long time. And there, I'm vegan now pretty much. But when I would travel, I would sometimes eat some seafood,
Yeah,
sometimes eggs. I have these like phases with it, but I haven't done pork or red meat and most other things since then. But one time in my early 20s, I was really drunk. This is when I still lived in DC. And I just had to just dog some wings.
got to.
And I don't know if you know what mambo sauce is. Have you heard
Oh
of
yeah.
this? Have you ever
They
had
have
it?
it over here. They have some over here. They got
Yeah,
some
but
places over here that make it. Well, I don't have nothing to compare it to. I didn't have it in DC, but I had some here. And from the people that were from DC that had it here, they were like,
you
that's not bad at all.
you told me this. I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. It will turn you. I mean, it will make you eat anything with that. Yeah.
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 It goes
So,
on all things.
but it happened. I don't regret it. It was a long
No.
time ago. I had my wings.
I have my moments.
But
I have
it's
moments where I'm just like, listen to your body, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want meat. Like meat's not it today. Like it's not it today. Maybe not even tomorrow. And so you make it work. You know what I mean? I think that's the important part. Just listening to your body too.
mm, yeah. I mean, but I feel like that's something people have to develop, right? Because sometimes you don't know.
I'm in therapy. I'm in therapy. And one of the main things that my therapist always tells me, she's like, how do you feel right now when you say this? Like always constantly like that check-in. How do you feel telling me this story? How do you feel, I reacted to this and how did it feel to share it? Like anything. And it's constant checking in with how things make you feel. And it's funny because I actually am seeing a new therapist now because the other one left the practice. But my first therapist, she would just tell me, she's like, what do you do? Like I would talk and she'd be like, what's this with your hand? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. She's like, it looks like you're pushing something away. What does that mean? And I'm like, I'm
Mm,
not even cognizant. My body language is already explaining my feelings towards things. So like,
mm-hmm.
it's this whole thing of like really listening to your body and tapping into like self-awareness, which in reality to me is spirituality. That's what that all entails. It's a
Mm-hmm.
physical, mental, emotional thing. It's this whole connection. Like once you really, and not master self, but you tap into how you really are feeling with everything and how you process. And that's where the development and the growth really starts to happen in a very particular kind of way, I feel anyway.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah. And then you have to integrate all of that, right?
All of it.
It's like, and then you have to even have the wherewithal to know how to even start, right? And a lot of
Seriously.
people don't,
I'm
you
super
know.
pro therapy for that reason. Like I'm like,
Therapy's
I don't,
great.
it's great. I'm like, talk to somebody and let them, because they're leading you to your yourself. You know what I mean? You're realizing what you're saying. You're realizing like what you're doing, and it's self revelations consistently.
Mm-hmm.
It's all that, and it's like they're not there to do the work for you. They're just kind of edging you on to do it for yourself. And I think it's important, super important for the majority of us who are breaking minor cycles here and there, or sometimes major cycles, and understanding we want a different life than maybe our parents had, and maybe certain things we were taught just weren't healthy for us. But we're still, engaging in those activities or mindset. And so all those things, I think, to really check in with yourself and feel like realize what you feel about things and how you want to live life, super duper important.
Yeah, and it's I can remember there was excuse me. I can remember there was a time when there was such a stigma about therapy, especially for men, like as if like it's like means you're weak. Like some of the people I know that need therapy the most,
Won't do it.
they'll never do it because
Don't
they're
never
just
do
like,
it.
no, why would I listen to someone tell me how to be, or like it's like that's not what.
Not what it
But
is.
it's you get so strong from doing it. You really do. And I mean, you don't have to turn on the news to see so much sort of emotional, personal underdevelopment out there, and just what some people will just deny themselves, the depths that they will deny themselves, the strengths, the strengthening that they will deny themselves in favor of this, I don't know, this myth of
The illusion. They like the
yeah,
illusion.
it's and I'm grateful that I, whatever my life was like, got, have had the awareness enough to engage in certain things, that made me better. It's just I just wish that for everybody.
Right.
I
I
mean,
mean, I do too. It's crazy out there. It's
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Could you imagine if everybody had therapy, had a good therapist?
I feel like it should be mandatory. I feel like any place of work should have it. I feel like
Mm,
it should be made. Um, I don't want to say not free because I know healthcare is not going to be free over here either. But like I had trouble with my insurance working for NYU Langone, right?
mm-hmm.
Finding a therapist I can afford, even with my insurance,
Yeah.
because the therapists usually bill out of network in order for them to actually make money. Because if not, they're not going to make great money. But then also, who can afford that? So I'm sitting here and I'm like, so if I break my leg, I can get surgery. That's fine. It's going to cost me less cumulatively to get in the ER, in an ambulance to get something done than it is to sit down with a therapist and get my mind right. That
Mm-hmm.
is nuts to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
luckily, I found, one of my friends, she's in social work and she deals with a lot of counselors and stuff and psychologists and psychiatrists. She had directed me to Gestalt, which is a form of therapy. I don't know if you heard of them.
I
Yeah.
was my last therapist who I'm on pause with because I'm doing couples thing with Steph,
Hmm.
which is great too. But he was a Gestalt therapist. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And they have a low pay scale there, and it worked. I was like, for $40 a session, like I can do that versus $200 a session that everybody wanted. I'm like,
right.
there's no way I can afford that.
Yeah, not
So it's
weekly or
it's
yeah.
yeah, no, it's crazy. Even I mean, you listen, even $45 a week or $40 a week can get can get
It all
a
adds
little bit
up.
in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it really does. So but yeah, I really wish that people, that whole illusion aspect, that willful ignorance to hold on to some illusion of bliss is really interesting. People just don't want to do self work. They're not willing to learn differently, to see differently, to experience differently. It's so interesting to just go through the world and watch people, you know, just play these things out and
Well,
have no accountability, self awareness, no nothing.
you said ignorant bliss, but it's
It's a,
almost
a bliss
like
illusion, though. The
yeah,
bliss
but
is an illusion.
yeah, but it's almost like I don't even think that a lot of people are feeling that. I think, I see like people in this kind of hardened, you know, like stone almost, like
Yeah, bliss
not
is
even
not
in the
it. Yeah,
flow of their own life and their own, and just angry, just angry. Oh man, why am I getting an upgrade? Why am I getting a timeout thing?
from Zoom.
Yeah, I shouldn't be. I should not be. Well, if it knocks me off in 10 minutes, we'll just get back on.
Okay.
This has happened before.
It's the devil.
Maybe I think it's because I got on. I have the free thing, and I got on with my phone. You know,
Oh,
so
gotcha.
that was like, oh, there's three people on here, even though like I'm not on it anymore. Let me
It's
make
not.
sure.
Yeah, the phone. I think that when you do the free one, it usually gives you what, like 45 minutes to an hour tops, and that's it.
40 minutes, yeah.
40 minutes, yeah.
But with three people and more, with two people, it's as long as you want. Let
Ah,
me just make
gotcha.
sure I'm off of this. Yeah, I'm not like on it. That's weird. Yeah, man.
So get my dog is having a fit now. He hasn't seen me all day. He's just trying to play this whole time. Like kids, it's my kid. Um,
So you said you've
but
been
yeah,
writing a lot, yeah?
I've been writing. I've had since putting out music, people have heard me. Like a lot of different like producers and stuff like that have heard me and have wanted to like send me music. And some I would get sometimes those little beat packages from people, and I'm like listen to a few, and I'm like and then I would like maybe like two or three, and I'd buy it from them. And be like, all right, let's see, what's the licensing on this? How much, this, that, and the other. Um, but I challenged myself. I think I started being real annoyed with the state of music, and I started to um I don't know, I guess shame it in a lot of ways, and really just look down on it, and I was talking a lot of caca, and then I felt this weird thing. I'm like, but people can do that same thing with you, and everything ain't for everybody.
That's
So
right.
and so I heard myself saying, no, I don't like this type of music. No, I'm not doing that. No, what would I? And I was like, well, what are you really saying no to? Is opportunity, and you never know what can come from that bullshit song. You think, you know what I mean, is there, can be the one that actually might be something lucrative for you. It might lead you to another opportunity to work with someone you always wanted to work with, just because. So I had to like shift my thinking a little bit. So I actually bought songs I would probably never usually ever sing to,
Mm,
ever. Some of them are trap beats. Some of them are more hip hop R&B versus what I wish there was another word for that. I really wish R&B wasn't what this genre is called right now. That I'll still stick to because I don't think it's rhythmic or bluesy.
right.
Um, I
There's a
just wish
lot
they called
under
it
that
something else.
umbrella. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm like hip hop. I don't know what you want to call it, like something. Like I don't know if R&B is it. Um, but yeah, it's just it's that. So I said, you know what, I can find beauty in good singers and good writers despite what's happening around it if they can do that. And I'm like, so I have to challenge myself to be that. I have to challenge myself to write to certain things I wouldn't normally write to, sing to things I wouldn't normally sing to, and put it out there. Who knows? Who
exactly.
knows?
Yeah,
As
it's
long as I
and
get to make the music I want, I like, and if I'm proud of it at the end of the day, like I'm good.
yeah, and it's like you never know what you're gonna, you might touch some more people with some silly song. You're like, I'll whatever about.
Seriously,
Someone might say that it saved their life, or who knows. It's like you never know.
seriously.
That's the magic of being an artist for me, is just like you just never. It's also scary. You never know. You don't know. You can't predict and calculate, and there's no, especially now, there's no certainty, right? There never really
No,
was.
yeah,
But it's also the excitement of it for me, because it's just like, yeah, try that, try that, try that. Like, say yes to things.
yeah. It's
See what
hard.
happens. I would have never thought I would meet you or some of the other amazing people I've worked with when I started. When I started, I was like, I'm going to do this way, and it's going to be like this. End of, like as if. But then it's just like you engage it and it blossoms, and if the more you say yes, I mean within reason, people. There's a lot of shitty people out there that
Yeah.
you want to know the red flags and not say yes to them. But you know what I mean? It's just like how that kind of life can blossom is like, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I've found that I have, for me, in my self reflection, I found out I have said no to a lot more things than I said yes, and
Mm,
sometimes I don't regret it. I won't say it's regret. I just often wonder what happened if I would have said yes.
mm,
You know, and it's not like I said, it's just not a regret, just an alternative view of what could have happened. And I know that I allowed people to hold me back from certain things. I took their words, their judgments, or whatever as truth and made it my truth. And so I allowed that to stop me from thinking I can do certain things. Um, and like, even though I'm not intimidated by other singers, I'm intimidated by other singers. So I always find it odd. Like, I don't mind. I can sing on stage with anyone and I don't care. Like, I love to sing, right? And
mm-hmm.
it's a music thing. Like, I don't, so there's never like an ego when it comes to that. But like, I'll listen to certain people sing and I'm like, who are these people? Like, they sing ridiculous. Like I don't even want to sing anymore. Like, I listen to them and
Right,
I'm like, well, I'm just gonna put this mic down, just stop.
right.
Like, it's one of those things. But at the same time, it's like it was Rachelle Ferrell. I think I went to one of her concerts.
Not long ago, right? A couple years
Uh,
ago.
yeah, this was about, maybe I would say probably about 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It was around
and
the same
she,
time we started playing that song.
I think so. I think so. By the time I started singing, yeah, I gotta go. Um, yeah, so she had like this moment, and she's like talking to the audience, but it was like one of those moments that she does these, she channels, and then she's like talking this truth, and it's so ridiculously profound if you allow it to be. And she's like, no one can recreate this moment right here.
Mm.
She's like, I have another show to do right after this. And she's like, this 10 o'clock show is not going to be like the 8 o'clock show. She's like, tomorrow's show is not going to be like this. She's like, you can't recreate what happens in the moment. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's magic in its own right. It happens. It's lightning in a bottle, like this one moment. And she was like, and the reality is that I do what I do and you do what you do, and nobody can replicate us. Nobody can do what we do, how we do it. They can try, they can imitate us really, really well, but they still can't do what we do, how we do it. And she was like, and that's why you should always go, like, do what you love to do, and don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Like, don't let your idea of them get in your head, or the ego portion of it. And it hit me so hard. And I still to this day have to remind myself, because I think before the album was coming out, I started feeling like that ego centered monkey mind craziness. And I was like, I don't know if I should put this album out. I'm like, it's so dated compared to what everyone else is listening to, and it's so not what's on it's not what's on that the radio anywhere, that no one's listening to this shit no more. Like, I just went into that whole tirade, and then I'm like, David, you just sat here and like spent crap load of money, time, energy, poured your heart into this, and what? Let a few Instagrammers and like TikTokers who sing really well make you feel like this is not what you love to do, which it is. Like, and I was like, okay, David, you're right, you're right. I had to have like a conversation with self, and realize that I do what I do.
I'm gonna get kicked off in less than a minute. That's
Okay,
why I put my finger up. So sorry.
all right.
But let's I'm gonna put a cut here. So I'm sorry about that. We had a little technical fart, and I had to interrupt you,
Tech
and you
fart,
were
tech
talking about
fart.
all that amazing stuff, and so I apologize. It's we were doing a tech check earlier, and I had to get on a third guest on my phone to like work some tech thing out with you, right? And I think that even though I got off, it was like, oh, there's three people on. We're gonna kick you
Right,
off after 40 minutes.
right.
Um, but there's something I can ask you that kind of is I guess a continuation of what you were talking about.
Okay.
Um, the whole thing of saying yes. I feel like there's so many levels to that, right? Like you can say yes to a situation and go and show up and do a thing and get a check and do a task, but you didn't really say yes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that you were talking about, Rachelle Ferrell talking about the moment, that's really like the depth of it is almost like, yeah, but can you say yes to that moment and like give yourself fully to that moment,
Right, to that thing that you're agreeing to.
which is powerful and magical and scary as shit too, because you have to be
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable, right? Like,
It's allowance. That's what the yes is. The yes is about allowance. It's you're relinquishing to a degree some control, and you're stepping into a new area, the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen.
mm-hmm.
You just know that you have to do something, and you have to do it well, and you have to make it work. And I think that is, yeah, it's a scary thing for people. I think people, like that's why to me, mic tosses and stuff like that are like the craziest things ever. Like someone just hands you a mic in the middle of their set, just like sing. You're just like, but it's almost a forced uh, allowance. It's a forced yes. It forces people to, for me, it did. It forced me to get into my, like, just go into it and do what it is that you do. I don't know how to explain it any other way than that. And the first few times I got a mic toss put at me, and the first time was, and I say major mic toss, not just, but like I was at the Blue Note, and Lettucey was performing, and she had just finished her set, and we actually, me and a couple of friends and her had went to brunch earlier in the day, and she joked around about it online once, and she joked about it at brunch. She was like, don't freeze up when I hand you the mic. And I'm like, girl, shut up. Like you can't hand nobody no damn mic. I'm like, girl, shut up. And then like and not only was she there that night, the whole cast of The Color Purple was there that night.
Oh wow.
Right. So I see her. I was in the front row, the front table, I should say, Blue Note, and she says thank you to everybody for the show, blah, blah, blah. And she looks at me, and she looks back at the guitar player who had just took off his guitar. Like he was ready. He was so ready to go. And she was just like, we're gonna do one more song. He looked at her like, and he put back on his guitar strap, and she tells like someone or whatever, and she starts playing this song. And I was just like, why did she look at me, make eye contact, and then do this song? So I kind of started getting fearful, because I was like, oh my God, oh gosh, she's really going to do it. And she did. And she just handed the mic. She was like, boop, here you go.
Did you sing the whole song?
No, I sang she sang the majority of the song, and she just gave me like a portion of like just to run. Like they were just like a groove,
Mm-hmm.
and to do whatever it is that I do. Now, all I remember in that moment, I took the mic, blacked out, did whatever the hell it was I did, and I handed the mic back to her.
And people were going crazy, right?
And people were going crazy. The place
How did I know?
The place was on their feet. I think there was nobody not on their feet. The cast of The Color Purple was looking at me like, who are you?
You looked up and just saw stars. You saw the sky.
I looked up like,
off.
why is everybody looking at me? Because it's such a weird, like, I know it sounds crazy, like the fear, but like I stepped out of myself, but I stepped into myself at the same time. And so I performed well. I did something that made everybody do that. I can't tell you what it was, right? But now I think the lesson for me has been in the last maybe 5 years, and singing with the spiritual center that I go to, in which case he would do a lot of that mic toss stuff too, because he was pushing me outside of my fear. He knew that I was fearful of singing in front of people in a particular way. I was used to being in a group all the time. And what I love to do in a group is step up, sing my part, do what I do, and step right back. Y'all can take the spotlight again. I don't want to be noticed. And that has a lot to do with other things, right, about me. But I didn't realize it until that process happened. And I realized that fear is not the thing. Like this fearful mode of that, it's going to it messes you up. You get too in your head. You don't allow yourself to be in the moment. You're thinking about what's going to sound like later. Who's going to see this later? You don't allow yourself to be in the moment. And so it really taught me lessons. There's moments now where I'm proud that I can be calm and just go sing and just step into that and just, go do what I do. And then there's times I slip back and where I'm just like, oh geez, and I got to remind myself, you love to do this. This is
Yeah.
what you've been doing since you were a child.
Right.
Why are you scared to do what you love to do?
And that's totally normal that you go back to that.
Yeah.
That you find yourself, that you overcome a fear and then you find yourself, falling into it. That's like in like everybody. I don't know anybody that doesn't struggle with that, And I think sometimes people think they shouldn't that shouldn't be an obstacle, that they shouldn't have to face that, that oh, it should be easier or something, but it's like that's natural. That's the whole deal. And I almost think like ego, fear is something that it's like you have to unlock it. It's like a seed or something, and you unlock it, and you like in a way it can work to your benefit if you unlock it in the right way. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
And I still deal with this all the time, but it's like my best performances are when like I have that and I figure out a way to unlock it and integrate it, and all the BS disperses, but then it charges. It gives a charge to it
All right.
that sometimes isn't there when you're just like. And every time is different. Every gig, every time you sing, every time you play it's gonna be a different like personal struggle and process, right? Um, I know I've had situations where it's just like there was no struggle, there was no nothing. It was just, and it's just like, eh. But like, I think that's why people really resonate with art so much, is because the struggles, the personal struggles, are so like intertwined in the performance or the painting or the song or the whatever, and then that's the thing that people connect to. And fear is always, there's always fear in every, I knew somebody when I was a teenager that was like, because I was really into Buddhism, and it was very much like, dissolve the ego, kill the ego, right? And then this woman who was an artist, managing some artists in DC, was like, no, the ego is a tool, and it's something you got to learn how to use, because you can't do anything without one. I mean, yeah, you can, but like, you want to do this, you have to have a little, and you have to know how to use it and have it not take you over and destroy you, right?
Right.
Obviously, it's like anything, it can kill you, or it can, water will kill you,
Yeah.
and you need
No.
it to live. You know what I mean?
Facts. Facts. I think ego gets a different rap, and I think the context of ego in it's like one of the things I heard. It's like to be truly humble,
Mm.
you have to accept your greatness.
Mm.
You don't have to talk about it. You just got to be about it. You just got to do what it is that you do, and there's no need to be braggadocious. It speaks for itself. You know what I mean? And just
Mm.
knowing that you are enough. What you do is enough. You know what I mean? That you are in that space. And stepping into yourself in that way, right? I think the ego centered mind, where the fear is at, the doubt is at. I mean, the tools from that should be tied to intuition. They're protection. You have a fear of something because you're like, I need to protect myself, right? It's something there. It's a natural instinct to be wary of something, to what's going on here type deal. I don't want to walk into that dark looking house with no lights you know that may be haunted, right? Or I don't want to go into these woods. I don't know what's here. Like whatever it is, right? It's something that holds you back from surroundings. At the same time, it's like when you're in situations where that's over flooding the common knowledge that you are who you are, and have you know I have a friend who has like a traumatic ass way he lost his father, right?
Yeah.
Like horrible, horrible, horrible. And involved family members going to jail. It was like a whole big thing, and like he was like thrust into grow up mode so
Yeah.
quick. He had to
Mm-hmm.
like live, right? So he's recently broke up with his partner, and he's sitting there texting to me, this is like the hardest thing I've ever been through. And I'm like, boo, this is not the hardest thing you've ever been through. But I understand in the moment it feels like that, but
Mm.
it's not. And I'm like, and so the knowledge of what you've already accomplished, what you've already done, what you are already good at, how many times you've done it and it's been great and it's been okay. And we forget that because we allow fear and ego to just chip away at all that. It becomes a cloud over our vision. So I think the unlocking it is interesting because it's like how do we stay in perception? It's not about I'm great, I'm so amazing, I'm better than anybody else. No, but it's like, hey, I got this. Like I can do this. I've done this before. How to stay there, and be healthy about it. Because I think a lot of people don't know how to handle that type of confidence. It's conceit to someone automatically, or it's whatever. And it's like, no, I get to be great.
I think
I
sometimes
do well.
people can experience this sort of dichotomy of either being tremendously anxious or having anxiety and fear, or being like overly confident and like super in the ego, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot. And please charge. Is that your phone?
Yep. It's a low battery. Please charge. You heard it?
Should you want to plug it in before we get?
Yeah. Let me do that real quick.
Oh no,
Hold
I was
on.
gonna get into something good too.
I mean, I have 10%. We can talk out the 10%.
Hey, I might need 13, 14, 15% here. No, but I was gonna say, what was I gonna say?
Did that you heard her voice through
Yeah,
here?
it came through. It was like,
That's hilarious.
your phone is going to die, you negligent. No.
Right, you negligent hostage.
No, but I've seen it's almost. I almost feel like the thing, the state that you're talking about is somewhere in between, where you've unlocked the fear, it's become a mist, and you move through it, but you're not because I think that the obscene ego is just like the other side of that. It's like compensatory. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And it can also lead to an equally bad performance or whatever meltdown. And there's this place, I guess, in the middle or transcendent of both, that's just like, this is just, yeah, like what you were saying, this is what I do, and it's not a thing, it's just your nature, right? You trust
Right.
it, you can trust it. I'd say that's like one of the psychological takeaways of because the first maybe 1-2 seasons I watched American Idol as like a psychological study, and I
Hmm.
found that like every time you had someone that was like, I just have to sing or I'm gonna die, I pawned my wedding ring, and they lost. They lost immediately. When you had someone that was like, I just like to sing, and whatever, I'm cool either way. Like they were like, I could
Excel.
pick the winners
Yeah.
just based on their attitude and their vibe about it. And sometimes the people in the latter category were like, they didn't win, but they got somewhere, and they'd be like, oh yeah, you have a great, and they go on with their life. you
Right.
know but that whole like attachment to you know some kind of result or some kind of validation is really dangerous.
That specific. I might have to just take these out. And it's quiet in here. There's nothing going on, so hopefully that'll be fine.
All right, all right.
We're gonna try it. Let's see.
But what about
See,
the
because
the
I
charge?
can't plug these in. They plug into the actual pod.
Oh, I see.
So I have to plug the pod in. Let's see. We're gonna try this
This
out.
is some high technology.
How bad do I sound right now?
That's actually not that bad.
See? See, look at that. Look at God. Uh, yeah, I think the validation thing is huge. I don't think, honestly, with music, I could say I got it. I got validation externally a lot for my music or for my singing, but I never looked for it. And maybe I didn't have to look for it because it was there. I saw validation in other areas of my life where I wasn't validated, right? But music, I kind of always felt akin to, like, and I never got too much. I got more critique about who I am than how I sing.
Mm.
Like, I remember I was like maybe 16, 17, and it was like two specific times where I sang. We I don't know. Maybe it's a little shady. I don't know, but like there was people who knew A&R agents, or family of family, cousin, whoever, They're like, oh, my cousin's an A&R agent or whatever. And they had like believed in these group of singers or whatever, local singers. And they were like random places to meet. Like I think one time we walked into a school gymnasium after hours, literally. Like swear to God. And we sang these songs as me and a boy group that I was in. And like I remember, oh, you gotta lose weight. You're too big. No one's gonna wanna like you can't market you. Maybe a little bit too on the feminine side. You gotta butch it up a bit. Nobody wants a gay artist. Things like that. And that stuck with me more than it never was the voice. It never was the music. It never was that. So, that has created in a lot of ways, I think, my self-consciousness of being on stage and being seen so much. It's like I can just do what I do and step back because I was like, I don't want people to see me. Now it's a little bit different. I think now I have a little bit more, I guess, comfort. I always talk, me, I talk crap to the audience anyway. I just talk shit and laugh. Right. That's what we're going to do. It's my living room. That's my thing. I always say long before there was Tiny Desk concerts, which I love, was we're in the living room. We're laughing and we're having a good time and we're doing what we love to do. Because rehearsals felt like that. Rehearsals didn't feel like rehearsals. We were doing what we love to do and we were laughing. Mm-hmm. And that comfort level I want to bring to the stage all the time. Mm-hmm. This is us doing what we love to do and being able to laugh about whatever happens. My voice may crack. I may laugh in the middle of the phrase. Like I did Come Together. We just started laughing because I saw Ramona dancing and she was looking a funky face and I wasn't ready for it.
Great,
right?
Man. Yeah.
So moments like that, but it's like, it's not about beating yourself up. It's not about, expecting some level of perfection that's dead. That's a robot. That's a product. That is a brand. There's a level of branding for art, but I'm not a brand. I'm a person.
Yeah.
And it's that nonsense. I think that tends to hurt a lot more.
It's very damaging, and I didn't know that you'd had experiences where you were like explicitly told, oh, nobody wants this or that, or you're going to have to do this. Yeah. And yeah, that's the kind of shit that has to go. And I feel like it is in a way, and it's also not, because you're right. You're not a brand. You're a person. And I'm always curious, like in an unencumbered world where it's like you're just allowed from the beginning to just, be, how much more greatness would be given to the world. You know what I mean? It's like,
totally.
And all these limitations are just like some dumb shit,
Totally. It's I don't know. It's a human element of things, right? Because I think then there's the projection of other people's insecurities and their thought and their mindset of what you should do, how you should do it, what you should look like, and it becomes a whole nother thing, honestly. And it's scary when you think about what that means to artists who are constantly creating and who want to just create good, bad, ugly, and indifferent of what they just want to create. Like if I want to sing a ditty right now that's like half-assed and it's about drinking liquor and smoking something,
will you do that? You have the platform.
I won't. like anything, like it should be what I want it to be, and I don't need anyone to come and have to critique it and to make it something else than what it is. Like it was what it was for the moment for me.
Yeah.
And it's always a take it or leave it. And I think that was like with my album, I think I was scared. On some level, I was scared people wouldn't get it. Mm-hmm. I don't think musically even. Like, I don't know. I just couldn't figure out. I just felt like it was like my diary set to music. And I was handing it out to people. And I was like, hey, listen, read page 5 through 7 and understand what the hell I was going through at that moment. And then, but that was the part for me that was mostly scary to me. Like the words, the people paying attention to the lyrics and maybe trying to overanalyze it and maybe get a picture of me. And then I was like, David, like, do you really care? Like the grand scheme of things, they listen to this thing. We make up our own pictures in our head when we listen to music. We're thinking about who we're thinking about, what we're thinking about. So I'm like, you're worrying about nonsense.
Yeah.
But understanding that, it was still that expression that allowed this is what I was going through. This is what the musicality is behind this. This is what drives the vehicle of this feeling in these lyrics and whatever the case would be, and just being okay with it and just being like, that's it. I didn't have anybody behind me consistently critiquing me. You know, I think as an independent artist, it was me in my head. I may have listened to it with a few people to see what they thought. People like my contemporaries, people I obviously respect, vocally or lyrically, and I had one person who writes amazing and who like critiqued how I wrote certain things, and then when I listened back to it, I was like, no, that still doesn't, like, I made little things. I got what he said, and I was like, okay, and I made little smidgen of things, but some of the suggestions I was like, no, that can stay. That's totally, because that's how I would speak. I didn't want to change my voice.
Yeah.
I was very consistent and cognizant of how would David Sosa say this. I don't need to say this how someone else would say it or whatever's correct grammatically or whatever. It needs to relate how it needs to relate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got to be authentic to yourself. First, right?
X.
And whatever people are going to get out of it, they're going to get some kind of elemental thing out of it, right? And then they're going to like make their own context for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to say though, it was really helpful. Like when I did, what you said earlier about, being a little freaked out about putting the album out, like, cause it was your diary, and, I felt the same way about the Lifelines album I put out last year. And man, it was amazing how you were like one of the first people to send me feedback about it. Because I'd never put anything out like that. I never put out a vocal record, which was like songs of mine. I always like play do it in my instrumental records and play on other people's records, right? But you gave me, within like the first couple days, you gave me this like song by song, like not even critique, but like, this is what I like about this. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm, and it was like, yes. Like I didn't care about what anyone else said because it was like so thorough, and I like knew you got it, and I was like, okay, I can like exhale a bit,
Yeah, I mean, like, and it's totally that. Like, we can get there's the moments. I mean, and then you were doing something like, yeah, you sing, but you're not always singing in that essence of this to that capacity. So now to put yourself on a solo project with you playing and singing, I would be just as much as like, oh God, like as anybody,
Yeah.
I totally get it, yeah, I just, I don't know. It's one of those things where as long as it comes across for you, like if you were happy with it and you put what you did into it, whoever's going to get it's going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the reality of it all.
Yeah.
Because if you're not marketing it towards anybody, you're not trying to meet a demographic, you're making music, the end.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm excited to hear what this album is going to sound like performed live with a live band.
I am too.
Versus, you know what I mean? Versus, and even on an acoustic level, like even on like rearranging a song and making it something different and giving it a differerent life. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of all of this. Like I love that portion of it, and I'm looking forward to when things finally open up a bit more to do that.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about in the fall. We were talking about trying to do a duet, COVID safe thing, and
it's like super hard.
Man, we'll do it when it's warm. We'll do it in the spring or summer. Yeah, we have to
like
stay
warmth.
on that because that's what'd you say?
We like warmth.
Well, because you can let some air in, and it's not like you're enclosed. Like winter is hard if you got to distance and be inside and.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, that has to happen. I wish I had hoped for you that it could have happened around the time that your record came out.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I lost a little bit of I don't want to say momentum per se with that. I wish I would have thought ahead. I didn't know how many people had recording material at home, as far as like a small mixing board and a mic.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mic, just don't have a mixing board, and nor am I technically advanced enough to probably figure it out. But I definitely will be investing in that, and just to really get in that mode, because I would love to just have done some home stuff,
Yeah, I was surprised
and
when you said that because like I see you as somebody who like if you just had like a very simple setup, man, you could be making all kinds of demos and doing
yeah, I mean,
tracks for
and even just
people.
recording wise, like I didn't even think about that. So like it opened my eyes up to making sure you have certain things with you that you'll need as an artist, when you're just singing certain songs. At this moment, I was always used to singing ideas into my phone, and then going to the studio and be like, hey, this is it. This is what I got to do. Like, because
Yeah.
one song idea will spur into a whole thing, and then by the time I got into the studio, I already figured out this is my backgrounds. These are the chorus, the bridge. Like, I'm ready. It's done. The song is done on my end. Let's get this to music. Let's figure out what the sounds are we want, and whatever the case may be. Um. So yeah, it's been different. It's a good learning experience. I definitely will be investing in some electronics to have at home to make this better. Like even your little setup there, like a little mic.
Yeah, you don't even need a lot. You don't even need a lot of
No,
stuff. You need, laptop or something and some software, a mic and a little box and you're
yeah,
good to go.
I need to get a different laptop. I have a Google Chromebook. That's just not it. That's
Yeah.
not it.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna need to switch to Apple or something, at least for music stuff.
It's funny the whole doing little demos on your phone thing, like when you're inspired. It's like I had some really good results with that on the last couple of things I did. It's like previously I was very I would like be very a certain way about it. Like, well, I'll write out this part and this and that. And it was like this long sort of process. But the opening track of Lifelines, which is my favorite, was like the last thing I wrote. It came to me at the last minute in my car, and I literally just put on voice memo and like beatboxed and sang the melody
Yeah,
in gibberish. And
that's
then
what I
came
do.
home later that night and I was like wrote the damn song and I was like, this
Word.
is
Yep.
going to be dope. I love
Yeah.
this. And it was like, I was like, I'm so glad I had this tool to harness this inspiration because, it can happen. It can hit you like lightning, which I'll admit is rare. Usually you have to I've found you have to meet inspiration half if not all the way.
Yeah.
You have to kind of coax it. You have to show up and be like, I'm going to sit here and write, and if you want to show up, I'll be here. But
Right.
I'm going to do this anyway. And then it either happens or doesn't. But like when you're just in your car and you're like, boom, song, you got to have something, right?
Absolutely.
And you're not getting, you can't be writing. And it's like, yeah, voice
I've done it
memos.
100 times. I'm like, oh, time to do that. And I think a lot, like the majority of the songs, I'm trying to think. Let Me Know I wrote and did much later.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was looking for something that would be radio friendly, because I'm like, I would like to release something that people would get on that level, even if they're not going to get the rest of it from the album.
Mm-hmm.
So Let Me Know was probably the most radio friendly thing. And I actually heard it from a guy named Layered Music on IG.
Mm.
And it was like a beat sample pack that he was selling. And I listened to that one song and I was just like, this I can do. Like this one here. So I got it from him. I bought it from him. I had another friend who's very contemporary music related. He loves like what's on the radio most of the time. So I'm like, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I get it. So I gave him it, and he's like, that could work. He's like, let me see what you do with it. So I wrote it, and it was literally just like the flowing came with it. But after listening to it, I was like, this is so different than what I would usually write. And it came to me
Mm.
like last moment, and it was like it was a voice note kind of real thing that I was listening to it and started writing to it. And then like some of the other stuff, like Falling to Pieces, which is I always heard it very string heavy and very orchestrated. I wanted it to be a tango, but
Oh,
R&B, a waltz, but R&B, excuse me.
okay.
And I wanted that whole waltzy feel to it, which I'm like, I never hear that really with too many like songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I missed, even though they weren't live strings, but there's a really good string sound that was used. Um, I missed like strings. I missed that orchestration. Like I thought about like Motown. They used to have a whole booth
Oh
full of
yeah.
like Quincy Jones and Barry Gordy would just have people just in there. And I'm like, I won't be able to have that. I can't afford to pay everybody that. But if I can get a close enough feel to like what that would be like. And I heard it. I heard it from inception. So it was just one of those odd moments where, to hear it in person back at you, it's like elements of it, it wasn't entirely what it became out to be, right? But just elements that just stayed consistent in your head that came out. And I love that about that process. I love that manifestation sort of process, that gestation, that, it's your baby. Comes
Yeah.
out and you're like, oh, it has my eyes. I originally wanted,
It's so it's such a feeling, right? It's like hard to even put into words,
Yeah.
especially if you do things you don't know you can do and try new things that you don't know if you're going to be able to pull it off,
Did you feel like you did that with your playing on your album versus just the singing?
Everything. Oh yeah. But it's funny because I wasn't worried about the playing, so much. I was more worried about the songs. I was more aware of like the song structure and how things were gonna lay in the mix, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was less like fixating on the playing really. But the playing I like the playing. I'm very happy with all the playing, like because I played everything on it. So at some point you just have to just be like, I know how to do this and it's fine and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I want to definitely, and I always say it with you, like I always want to do like an acoustic soul, jazz, R&B type probably album where the majority of it's going to probably be like guitar heavy, maybe get some other instruments on it, but like because I just love some of these naked songs and these songs that just have like good little bops to them, and I'm like they're not too overcomplicated, they're not too overproduced. Like sometimes the overproduction just takes away something from it that you just get from a very pure element. And so like that's the one thing I've always liked. I think that we've all had a sound between me, you, and Ramona. It's like we fall into a pocket and it's a groove. It's an instant groove. And I'm like, I'm a groove whore. I love groove. I'm
that
like,
should
oh,
be the
this
name of
song
your
was
next
6 minutes.
album.
It's 10 minutes now, right? So that's my new album, Groove Whore. Like, it totally is. It's like one of those things, like a good vamp. Like, I love a vamp. Like, take me out in a vamp, like
Give me a
by
vamp.
all
That's right.
means, and a good mashup too. I like bringing another song in, like
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a beautiful moment that happens and allows for such like the synergy of people and their artistry and their talents to come into play. If there was one specific, and I have it saved, it was a screenshot. I wish I had better footage of it, but it was Drawing Laugh, and you had started playing this
Oh, we were playing a gig on Laugh?
funky ass groove that you just fell into it. We didn't rehearse it. We
It,
never rehearsed it. You just
was
fell
like
into it.
it was like at the end or
It
something?
was at the end. You fell into it, and Ramona started singing ad libs to the backgrounds at the same time while singing the backgrounds. And it just totally fed me to do whatever the hell I did with it. And I was singing better. I was in a mode of like feeling it because everybody just did their own little thing, but still kept it very cohesive. And it was one of my favorite things, like ever. I still go back and watch it every now and then. I
You gotta
have it
send me
somewhere on my
that.
IG or somewhere. It was such a small pocket of a moment, but like I said, you fell into the groove, and then Ramona was singing like parts that she never sang. And I'm like I watch it back now, and I'm looking to the side like she's next to me, and I'm like, slap you, like tell you to sing like that. But it was such a, and I love it. Like those are the moments in music that I love. It's like yeah, I love structure and yeah, we need it, but I love a free moment where it's just
Yeah, man.
it's a jam session at that
Mm-hmm.
time, and you're not worried about I didn't rehearse this, how's it gonna sound. You're just in the moment
Mm-hmm.
doing what you do. And like that to me is that whole magic I was talking about, that saying yes to that. Like you know what you're capable of. Like it's there. You've done it. Just fall into that space.
And it happens when you get out of the way.
When you get
Sometimes
out of the
you have to be
way.
conscious about it, but sometimes you just get out of your own way and it just
Facts. The
happens.
fact
It
and
comes
figure.
in.
Yeah.
It's like I often think in terms of like nature metaphors, and I think of like preparation and practice as being like you're cutting a route in like stone or in the earth, and then the inspiration is the water. Like you let it go, and it has these tributaries to flow through. That, but you have to cut them out, right?
Yeah.
You have to cut the pathways out. Um, yeah, and it's like inspiration is kind of like the same thing. It's like you do some homework, and then you just like open the floodgates, and it's gonna you just let it go, let it come in,
Yeah.
and you'll have your skills and your abilities will almost become secondary. However, they do need to be there, right? You can't just not,
Yeah.
you know. But it's like they have. It's like it has like a well running vehicle to. I don't know. I mean, I think about. I try to make these metaphors all the time, and
No, I get it. I always see it like, and I always see it in a weird, like, almost like a spiritual way. I always feel like you're present in the moment in a physical manner.
mm-hmm,
There's this other portion of you that's simultaneously there doing what it does.
mm-hmm,
So the key is to stay present while still being connected to what's
mm-hmm.
happening. So there's a moment of like, okay, yes, I'm aware we've probably been doing this for a little bit, or I'm aware that we're towards the end of the song. We do need to end the song. We have other songs to sing. So you're
We do
aware,
need to end this song at
right?
some
But
point,
like in
though.
right, but like, but because you're taking into consideration the time of everything, right? You're taking into consideration all of it because you did rehearse, you do know what needs to happen, whatever. But still enjoy that moment and still. So now there's a portion of you that's doing what you do well, and then still reining it in so that you can be considerate of the rest of the show that has to happen that you're there to do, right? The performance, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. Um, and that's it to me. Like it's those magical moments. It's how to. I'm like those moments sometimes happen by chance, and I'm like, I wonder how to make that happen. I wonder how to tap that in, unlock it to happen more often,
Yeah, you
right?
just do it all that you just do what you do as much as possible.
Yeah, I guess
And
so.
it's like what is it? What do they call it? It's like the odds are in favor of that happening the more you do it,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
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 Good moments. It's good moments like that, and I like to challenge myself on songs. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna sound in this, but I like the song. Let's try it. And then I'm like, yeah, I can retire that. I'm fine. Like there's those moments too where you test yourself, and to me, it's a sort of brevity. I'm like, oh, let's try this song, and then I'll sing it. And I'm like, I like it. I can do that again. Or I'm like, nope, not ever sing that again. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
When you brought that Rachelle Ferrell tune, it's called "I Gotta Go," right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, I was like, I put that on when I was like, okay, I got to learn this. I was like, dude, this shit is insurmountable. But it's become one of my favorites that covers that we've done.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like, but it's very involved, but
It
it's
it it, it
incredible.
is, and even like weird vocally, because like I normally don't try to sing Rochelle for anything because I'm like, who has the range to do any of that? But like that particular song is safe for anybody else to sing, even though it's not. Because it definitely, in the essence of it's, she's not going to whistle tone and she's not doing any of that. And so there's no expectation for me to sit there and be like, what I mean? Try to
Right.
screech it out. But at the same time, there's so many textural things she's doing with her voice and telling the story and understanding like, yeah, I'm going through this thing right now and I'm keeping it cool and I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
easily let this person off the hook so that we and it's just the whole thing. And then to even to the bridge at the moment where she's just like, I want you to understand why I'm doing this. Like this, I have responsibility to make myself happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't involve you, and that's still okay. Like that to me tripped me out, like lyrically, what she's doing vocally, and then the music keeps constantly changing because it goes from a groove to like this very almost fast paced like thing, and then goes right back to a groove again. So it's like, wait, like what is happening? Um, so yeah, that song tripped me out. I would assume it almost feels harder on the musicians and playing it than it probably does
Yeah, I mean,
singing
and
it.
that's just one layer of it. The whole arrangement and the technical side of it is just like what you're telling me is like, you know, I'm talking about the tributaries that you have to cut to be able to do it.
Yeah,
And then the whole magic that flows through it is like, yeah, that's man, music is so complex in so many ways that
it's
you
the closest thing.
it's the closest thing to, not the closest thing. Let me not say that. I feel, I feel that music is one of the closest expressions of what we know as God.
Yeah.
I call it God sounds.
Mm-hmm.
You're making God sounds. You are literally transmuting this very energy of sound into something that is moving people, that is making people who would normally not be together be together.
Mm-hmm.
It's making people's emotions stir and recall nostalgia and maybe recall a hard moment or a happy moment in their life, and like it's causing all this stuff. And I'm like, it's literally just energy flowing out and through whoever needs to receive it. Because some person listens to one song and two people listen to the same song and have totally two different reactions to it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like two different experiences to it, and it's still very profound for them, right? Or very specific.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like I look at music and I look at singing and I look at, you know, just instrumentation and everything. And I'm like, this is never just pretty sounds.
Yeah.
It's not just pretty sounds. This is God sounds. Like we are actually ministering to people, whether we want to or not. We are ministers of music at all times.
That's what the band should be called, right?
Ministers of music. Yeah, so it humbles me, and I'm also honored to be a part of that, whatever that musical movement is, to be able to do that, you know, and love it and be adept to it. Like I feel confident, I'm good at what I do, and I know people who are great at what they do as well, and it's like it's good to just have that
Mm-hmm.
and just do it and be a part of that. It's like a
Yeah.
pride thing without being, you know, conceited. I'm just like, I'm proud. I'm proud I'm a singer. I'm proud I get to do that little moment there, just sing this song that to me is like a favorite song of mine. To someone else, it's something else, you know?
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like, I don't know, I can't even imagine my life without music. It's like been my whole life. It's been the basis
Same.
of all of my friendships. And, it's just like, what would I be without it? Nothing. I don't know. I wouldn't want to know,
No,
you know?
no,
I get to know you. I get to know all these amazing people that have like nourished me and
same, same.
made me better as a musician and as a person, more importantly
No,
as a person. It's like life. It's like life itself.
seriously. It's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing. It I don't know. I can imagine my life without music. From little to now to like songs shaped me. Music shaped me. Like if before I went outside and wanted to play with friends, like I'd be locked up in my room listening to music and I'd be just fine.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's all I did. I had my headphones and my cassettes and my
Yep.
CDs and my
My little
records and
Walkman, my CD player, gradually my 503 disc CD player, and just yeah, that was it.
there's going to be more. There's more ahead, right?
Yeah,
There's going to be so much to do when this is all like
this is all over.
lifted. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna like, I know me. I'm gonna want to like perform almost immediately.
Yeah.
Anything. I don't care.
Yep.
Like, it's like, let's go. Let's do
Yep.
it right now. Let's figure it out. Eventbrite, whatever we need to do is get people coming. Let's do this because it's just it's a vibe in person and with people in a room than it is, you know, virtually.
It's my hope, and I'm going to hold this hope, or I'm going to hold this feeling that after all this, when we can do things again, that there will be this renewed charge both by artists and audience who previously in different ways maybe took a lot of things for granted. And we all take things for granted at some point, but audience taking for granted what artists have to go through, and that, like, what would you do if you can't go see someone again? And obviously,
Yeah.
artists take a lot for granted too. Like, what'd you do if you just really, there was nowhere to go and nothing to do? And like, you know, the realization of, the way we interact with each other as a community and support each other, these are things to be examined right now deeply, because so much was just on this autopilot. And it was like, I'm not saying like with us and what we were doing, but like in general,
Yeah.
in the arts world, in music, it's like people are like, oh, Spotify, I'll go to this show, I won't go to that show. And you know how it is with artists. It's like all kinds of varying dynamics, sometimes not good. And now for us to all together be deprived of the most important thing, which is like the communal sharing of this, I'm hoping to see a new charge, a kind of a new energy behind it. I think it will. I mean, I think, you can't take that for granted. Like, oh, there will be, it'll be fine, but like show up with that,
Yeah.
be, say yes to that, like hold on to that. Like, I'm like, okay, I hope I can hold on to this so that when it is that time, I can really show up with that,
Yeah. Really enforce that thing. I mean, if people don't want to be locked up in their space,
Nope.
so there's going to be it has to be. I don't see why it wouldn't be people wanting to get out and go places as soon as between the vaccine coming out and whoever feels it's safe enough that just taking it and doing whatever, people start getting together again and these numbers dip. I mean, it's going to be significant to have a live interaction again. I think people are going to be much more receptive to it than not. Having had to been home and away from a lot of people other than for work here and there. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely challenging. A lot of people are just finding challenges with their kids being home all the time now.
Yeah.
All that. So it's just all that craziness, but I think to get out the house, to like make yourself get out the house. I think a large part of what happened was very huge on reminding people to focus on themselves again and forcing them to.
Yeah.
And whether it's conspiracy theorists or not as to how this thing, did what, came from, whatever, I think there was a natural element to it. I think the earth did need people to chill out.
Yeah.
Needed to heal. Got its ozone a little bit together, a little coral reefs together, more or less people out. They got a chance, life had a chance to do what it needed to do. Nature had a chance to do what it needed to do. And, we had to as well understand what it was to not be so out and about sometimes, right? And focus on the things at home and focus on ourselves and really look at ourselves again. Because a lot of times I think we, and I speak for me as well, stepping into roles that are like aspects of yourself versus you. You know what I mean? Like I could be like, oh, I'm the husband or I'm the lover or I'm the this, but it's like, all right, but where's David and all of that? That's part of me, yes, but I don't have to be just this all the time or this, or significantly, right? What do I want to do? What made me happy again? Now I have time to actually focus on me. And that was a huge thing. I was like, I have to put this album out. Like I have to during this time. Like I any other time I would not have the time to sit down and send these emails out en masse and be on somebody's ass the way I can be now. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like by the time I get home from work, I'm fried. Like I'm like, I can't even think about having to do other things. Like just sometimes it's just too much, So it's very interesting to understand what it is to focus on yourself and make shit work as best you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna need to do a part 2 at some point.
Right.
There's a couple of these about
like
half
an Oprah
of them.
moment.
Yeah, we're gonna have to stay tuned.
We'll have this back again. No, this is definitely cool. I love this.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's been really good for me, and I think people who are interested in, I don't know if you read the tagline of the show, but
you put like 7 of them in there, but I didn't know which one was real.
There's only one tagline. Conversations seeking to humanize and illuminate the struggles and triumphs of musicians and other creatives. Right? Because I find there's so many podcasts about like comedians or actors or whoever talking about this kind of stuff. And then all the art musician ones are like, they talk about gear and they talk about the business. And it's just like, oh, snooze. Like,
Snooze button.
like let's get under the hood, you know?
Right, right.
No, it's been really good. It's been really good for me, and I'm hoping people get a lot out of listening to us all talk like this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you're definitely gonna put it on YouTube and the subscribing and all that, I think people should be able to get hipped up onto it and make sure that we
Yeah.
share the hell out of it everywhere.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, Dave, I love you to death.
Love you too, man.
You're one of my favorite people. I miss
Yes,
playing with
yes.
you. I'm
Chocolate
looking
Aquarius. We'll make this work. We'll make this work.
strawberry,
Yeah.
strawberry,
Strawberry Aquarius.
strawberries.
So stupid strawberries. I actually like strawberries. I don't know.
Strawberry.
Strawberries Tyree. Yeah, I think that might work.
Yeah, that'll be
That might be a thing.
my Greek gladiator name.
Strawberries.
Strawberrius Tiresias or something like that.
Tyrese's. I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You can introduce. Hey, I'll tell you what. Next gig we do, introduce me as
Strawberries
that,
Tiresias.
and then you'll get a good laugh out of me, and it'll be good vibes.
Love that.
But I'm really looking forward to doing stuff, and
Absolutely.
yeah. So let's plug real quick. Let's plug your links. I'm gonna put up your links down here.
Okay.
So like your website. What's
So
your
website, www.officialdavidsosa.com.
Yeah, we're gonna put that
IG.
there.
Yep. IG and Twitter is at DAVSOS, pronounced Dave Sos. And yeah, Facebook, I'm there. D Sosa is my artist page, and my main page is David A. Sosa. You'll see this mug right here. And yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much where I go. But I'm everywhere. If you want the album Journey to Love, it's on anywhere you could think of: Spotify, Tidal, Pandora, iTunes, Apple Music, whatever you want. It's all there.
Yes, it's all there. I'm gonna put up all those links.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. All right.
You got it.
All right. Take care.
Bye. Take care.
That was awesome. As usual, I really get a lot out of these talks. I love talking to my friends. I love talking to artists. I love talking to musicians, especially when we have a good chemistry. And I'm glad that we can share this with you. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was David Sosa. Please check him out. Go to his website, buy his music, listen to his music. Give the arts life. We need you. Support the tune-in if you like. Please hit the subscribe button. Please donate Ben Tyree at Venmo or Cash App. Please keep in touch with me, bentyree.net. Sponsorships, contact at bentyree.net. If you're a company or organization, I'm open. If you want to be a guest, hit me up. I'm open. Like, the sky's the limit here. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. Take care. Stay in love. I love you. Peace.